We're talking about Llamageddon. Llamageddon. Oh.
Why we don't let Jordan suggest movies.
Honestly, it is entertaining the vast majority of the way through.
Sure.
Go watch it, probably with some form of intoxicant. There is a llama planet army. We have an alien red-eyed llama. This llama is one of the most effective slashers in all of movie history. It's a llama massacre. The massacre. I don't.
It's one thing that scarred me, and I wish I could forget.
You get a shadow like Muppet on the wall of a llama.
Plush.
Movie is a fever dream. Laser explodes the middle of the car with fireworks. Yeah, Llamageddon, yeah, Llamageddon. I think it's entertaining in the dumbest of ways. I'm not okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Narratives and Nonsense. We are friends talking about random and recent stories, newsworthy or otherwise. I'm Jordan. He's Connor. Boy howdy. We have...
I have to say, excited or I'll fall asleep.
We're talking about Llamageddon, and boy howdy, we need to force ourselves to be like hyped up about this because it was some kind of movie.
Jordan,
it is better.
Jordan.
It is better. All right. Towards the camera for the meme or away? It's Llamageddon.
I'm not an actor.
It's better than Spy Kids 3, generally speaking. I think I'd give it like a toss-up. Connor, you really don't like...
10 minutes shorter, so I'll take it.
And then, goodness, we have some uplifting news and some holidays.
The effects are better.
They're more effective, they're more evocative in Llamageddon than in Spy Kids.
But anywho.
So yeah, Connor, how was your last week?
It was pretty uneventful. I went climbing, shredded my hands pretty good doing that because I'm still pretty new. And
yeah,
that was really like the biggest thing I did.
All right,
playing through Dark Souls. Not for YouTube.
Oh yeah,
I'm just a lazy degenerate who just does that.
Yeah, you play a game for like fun and entertainment.
Yeah.
Like,
no productivity or benefit to myself. Just like, I've only played this 30 times.
And you've got your no armor running around as a naked muscle boy,
like a
stripped of skin, and then sometimes he does.
Yeah, when I need to.
Do you just like earn it back? I don't know. I haven't played.
No, there's an item called Humanity.
Okay.
And when you use it, it'll heal you, but you don't really want to use it for that. Mm-hmm. Well, like, it's basically just other people's fucking humanities.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's their soul. It's not really well defined.
Yeah.
But
it would make sense. It's Dark Souls.
You can burn it at bonfires to become human, and if you're human, you can. That's how you like summon people into your game. If you're playing online, if you go human, you can like see people's summoning signs and bring in other players.
Okay.
But it also opens you up to being invaded by other people.
And then they come at you and make your day rough.
But if you stay in that beef jerky butt state, you can't be invaded.
A solo game.
Exactly.
Oh.
Or you can also go human, and you can make it so the bonfires give you more healing items.
Okay. So it's like a give and take. Like, do you want a solo experience? Do you want like pseudo hard mode, assuming that players are nice people? Or do you want that?
I mean, honestly, co-op, like when you summon someone in, it usually makes it really easy. Like, especially in DS1, they're really not balanced very well to have co-op in there. So like a lot of bosses become completely trivial with two people.
Yeah. And it makes it, most people I assume are pretty like chill, fun people. Like you might have like the fun poke.
Oh yeah, like people that you're summoning.
I got you,
typically.
But it's
invaders
not,
will mess you up. Invaders will screw you in every way possible. They will.
But they're far and few.
They expect like there's no one online these days because it's just Dark Souls 1. But like when they're up and running, you'll definitely run into it. Also, if you summon people, I don't know if it works this way in Dark Souls 1. But if you summon people, you're more likely to get invaded.
Huh. Cool. What the hell did I do this last week? Work was fun. We're gearing up for busy time stuff because like it just as the flow of things, and boy howdy, it was a little bit stressful as we try to like course correct for a lot of stuff. Rehearsal did some dance stuff, and similar thing. We had to do a lot of course correcting in the span of the day, and I I've broken my barrier. The last like month-ish or so.
You're not a virgin anymore?
Yep, there it is. You heard it here, folks. No, that's not it. The last like month or so, I've been dieting and exercising and stuff, trying to lose some weight. And I was at 235 tail end of July. And in like 2 weeks, I dropped 20 pounds, made it to 215, and I hit a wall. And it's like 215, 215, 215. And I finally went 214. And it's like, woo, okay, cool. And that's been the last 2-ish days, 3-ish days now, as of this morning. So, I'm back on the weight loss train. Let's go. I feel it with rehearsal. I'm sore. Yeah. So that was the good news for personal Jordan this last week. And then, like, temperature is good news now because it's like 80s, 90s, but it's dipping to 60s at night. It's super cool and refreshing. And, like, let's immediately open the house up once it hits like 10, like, without a stop. Some days we'll just have it open the entire day. Good times all around. I love it. Let's go weather. Yeah. That's it. As far as like cool news for this last week, everyone's freaking talking about it. Yeah, it's news day. Everyone's talking about the student loans thing with Biden. So, for us U.S. folks, student loans are a big pain in our ass. Let's say that first and foremost.
For that U.S. folk. Canada's great.
Yeah, he got schooled in Canada and then came down. He's one of those, like, education migrants that we're low-key maybe seeing more of as time goes along because it's ridiculous. For those that have that are earning less than $125,000 a year, you are now given $10,000 of federal student loan forgiveness. If you're a Pell Grant recipient, so you meet X additional criteria, you went in with the Pell Grant, you get that up to $20,000 worth of student loan forgiveness. And in addition to that, there is a further extension of the pause. So if you had student loans, you were earning interest as of literally like this week when this podcast releases, would have been the old extension deadline. You would have had to start putting in your payments, start getting your interest again. It's all gross all around. They've extended that through to December. They say a final time, but they've said final time before, so who knows? But it is looking up. And to add to that, the final, like, I think the really big win, I think the 10,000, 20,000, that's life-changing for some people. But the part that's possibly the biggest thing, especially if it continues going forward or we continue expanding on it, there is a repayment cap of 5% of whatever your monthly income is. And this would apply for those with undergraduate loans. I think that's like the biggest win in terms of long-term what schooling and education could be in the U.S. because it's something where it makes us rethink how tuition can be and like the long-lasting aspect of it. Because it's something where you've got some people where half of their income, it's like, okay, I pay rent, I pay loans, and I get enough food and call it a day. That's something that will hopefully make the quality of living a little bit better. Hopefully that trickles into let's rethink tuition as a whole. Because now it's like, they can't get as much cost back immediately to profit off of for whatever thing. If it's like, there's a cap on how much you're going to be earning. So people only live X amount of years. So like,
I also just curious wish if like so many student loans weren't so freaking predatory, it's like it wouldn't be that horrible.
And tuition costs are super inflated, predatory in some places. I mean, we've
it's like 12 times what it was in like
the 1980s. Yeah, it's income has only like doubled since the 80s on like a national scale. It's increased about 200%. Cars and houses increase about 4 times what it was back then, and then its school costs 12 times as much. when, if anything, school should be getting easier because of technology, access, communication, all of that stuff. And it's done literally nothing compared to any other kind of industry. Tuition needs a rework. Hopefully we'll see that in some form or fashion, because I do think that is the biggest root cause, personally, with how that'll be. So, adding to, like, the accessibility of education, the government has also put into play this new motion that will have to be updated by different agencies by the end of 2025, but before, there was like a year period where academic research results were kind of withheld from public knowledge for that first year. Now, if it's something where you get federal funding, that paywall option has been removed outright. It is something where as soon as results are posted, that is publicly available. There's a couple of really great things to come out of this. First is just the transparency of information. The other idea is the thought that because it's federally funded, it is public information, so it goes back to the public.
Publicly funded.
And the final part, which was a very interesting thing, is that kind of year paywall thing pushed a little bit of like a discriminatory aspect where you had schools, colleges, etc. that wouldn't have quite as much funding. More often than not, it's one of those things where statistically there's more racial disparity between the ones that have funding versus don't have funding, or as much of that funding. So you would just have less quality education at certain places where they don't have the expenditory income
to be able to pay through that
paywall, that now will just have that research, have that accessibility that they otherwise might not have had before, which I think it's weird and cool that it like breaks down this barrier that might otherwise have been kind of put into play. So that's something else that's really cool. On the front of like faster, more efficient things, there's also a new prenatal test for as far as testing embryonic or fetal health. With how it used to be, it's something where tests like that are much more in depth than simply "are you pregnant, are you not" kind of thing, and it would take like days or weeks to process. Now, with what's called the Stork testing method, it will take hours instead, which is just massive, especially if in the case of like in vitro stuff, a lot of the in vitro fertilization aspects, it's an expensive process to go through. So if you cut down how much time it takes, thousands of dollars for people that go through that, or in more recent relevancy in abortion terms, if it's something where you need to find out if the fetus, the embryo that you're carrying, is has some form of like developmental issue, defect, problem, something like that, where abortion needs to be taken into consideration, that could make or break the line depending on certain states that are now being much more restrictive with abortion rulings and whatnot. So it could be like a full-on life-changing time frame because of this new method. The Stork method itself, scientists are funny. They like making good abbreviations. Stork for children things, short read, transport, rapid, karyotyping. They went through the dictionary and went, okay, Stork. How do we spell Stork? I swear and they're like short dash red, R is lowercase. Nailed it. Let's go. And then finally the random like addition thing, sexual identification for if the fetus embryo is going to be male or female. So if you want your gender reveal party like way earlier, there you go.
Also, it's a lot cheaper.
Also, it's a little bit cheaper. Yeah, that's true.
But you're going to spend a ton of money on fireworks, apparently, to reveal the gender of the child. So you as well save it where you can.
Yeah, you need it for the lawsuit after you hire a plane that then crashes because they weren't ready for doing like air stunts or for lighting up the entirety of a state wildfire nonsense. Yeah. It's just, gender reveal parties. What a hoot and a holler. And then finally continuing down the train of gender and, more importantly, things that impact women's rights and decision making and the like. The first one is over in Spain. They just introduced this new legislature, this new rule of law standard, where it's only yes means yes. The idea is it can no longer be assumed that sexual consent is given by default. It is implied, like, to always be there unless otherwise stated, and or if there is silence given. That's something that's really huge as far as women being able to report a rape or sexual misconduct, sexual assault, so on and so forth. This came to be after an incident where 5 gentlemen with an 18-year-old in 2016 had on film.
Say 5 degenerates.
Yeah, 5. It was 5 of them with a film of her being silent, and they said that they went to court about it, and they argued that the silence was a form of consent, and that's messed up. So that is now a rule of law in Spain where it is not, you need to get this consensual. Absolutely, this is not just they're going at big difference for women there. And then you can't.
You cannot give consent with your eyes.
Yeah.
So many people always love to try to pull.
And then building off of that, over in Uganda, in a very different battleground for women's rights, it's something where there's a lot of gender-based discrimination and violence over in Uganda. One of the big things that they're doing out there is they are working with the UN. They're doing trainings and destigmatizing of things and bringing about the discussion of gender equality and the like. In Uganda, it's something where it's 63% of women own, 86% have access to land, but a lot of land conflict. About 50% of people are seeing land conflicts. Most of that is happening within the home. 72% are within your own household, because it is still very much the woman may own the land, but the man dictates what happens,
what they use it for.
Yeah, and it gets to a point where there are instances of things like domestic violence where people will put up with a more violent household simply because the man can say what happens to the place that they are at. So it's something where they're starting to open their eyes a little bit to those things, those issues. One example is there's a 2,000 plus community of people called LandNet Uganda. It's now something where, after having these trainings recently and going through to kind of see or acknowledge women's rights advocacy and the like, they now have women in their community. It's only at 25, but it is absolutely progress compared to this was only the domain of man, even though, again, a lot of women have land ownership in some form or capacity for the vast majority of people, or at the very least access to it. So very big strides for what otherwise was a very traditional patriarchy kind of mindset. So that's really cool that they're going ham with it.
Yeah.
So we'll see where that continues, but it is an upward trend, I would say, for women out there. And finally, what I think is probably one of the cooler stories, complete segue tangent. This is just a developmental thing. I have a 3D printer. I make little knickknacks sometimes with it for my mom or for friends or family and blah, blah, blah. You have a toothpaste squeezer now that I printed out.
Couldn't live without it.
3D printing continues to be really cool. We've seen construction with 3D printing where you have a concrete 3D printer, and now
somebody made a castle with that.
Yeah. Oh, it's super dope. Now it's something where it's come to light. There's this new startup where they are 3D printing with primarily plastic material for housing. So it's 60% of it is inherently waterproof plastics. It's things that are like recyclable water bottles or food packaging, as an example. We've seen 3D printing can be more timely, more efficient with concrete. With this plastic-based one, first is something where you get to kind of reuse, reduce, recycle. There's not going to be an end of a supply chain anytime soon, whether it's like freaking fishing out the giant like plastic paradise that's in the Pacific, or if it's something where you're going out to like, whether it's a recycling center or the like, you're able to find this material all over the place. It's readily accessible, available. But in terms of the turnaround, the plastic printing is about 70% faster and 30% cheaper than more traditional construction methods, which is huge. That's awesome. Right now, they only have 3 different, like, sized units. It's a studio, it's a 1-bedroom, it's a 2-bedroom kind of apartment deal block thing, somewhere between 180 and 900 square feet, depending on, like, what size you end up going with. But by 2024, they're looking at printing larger scale homes. And in terms of the turnaround, I mean, it's something where it's 1 day print, 1 day wire it, 1 day like insulate, line, pretty it up, and then you just put it on a truck and send it on its way. Like, that's almost the extent of it, which is just straight out of the future.
And they must be doing pretty well because apparently there's about a 3-month wait.
Yeah, they have a 3-month wait list. So even though they can print it that quickly, they were getting so much demand that it's like, oh, okay, well, it'll get there when it gets there. Yeah. I also wonder how much of that wait list might be due to, like, if it's something where they have to wire or line or, like, not furnish but finish it, like, how much of that impacts that supply chain. Like, yeah, they can put the floor in a day, but we got to get the floor in here, what have you. Assuming it's not just outright plastic. Yeah.
Tough.
No, so theoretically, this should be something that will hopefully help a lot with housing things going forward. If we continue to see 3D printed housing construction, like, just imagine how much more accessible housing will get. The next step is like, okay, do we start stacking them like Legos? Do we make apartment complexes like this? I'm very excited to see where it goes. And hopefully by being, a little bit more energy resource efficient, it'll just make that much more streamlined in the grander scheme. I kind of see this as a similar win to, like in the 50s where they started doing like copy paste housing. I forget what that process is called. It started in New York. That's what I got. I'm not a history person. But it's similar to that in my mind. And continuing from there, holidays. We have a bunch of random stuff. So, Lemon Juice Lemon Juice Day.
My man, Lemon Juice J over here.
Chop Suey Day. More herbs, less salt for those that want to season or flavor your things. Like, there are other options. I very much need to learn that. I don't use salt on a lot of things, but I also don't use anything else. I'm like, onion powder, let's go. Garlic powder, let's go. There are other things. There's time. Time exists.
Basil.
We have time. Yeah, basil. Like, sesame seed. We have, I know, paprika.
Ooh, some smoked paprika.
Like, these things exist. I am a failure. I'm a mad scientist cook, what can I say? So, more herbs, less salt. It has a whole day for us people. According to Hoyle Day, this one's a very fun one. This is a dude from the 1700s that literally put standardized game rules in for things like backgammon, just as an example. And it's something where he, like, his dissertations on games and rules became widespread enough to the point where apparently there's a phrase that's kind of coined about what have you for him called according to Hoyle. Thus the name of the day, where if you needed to, like, rules lawyer somebody, like, oh yeah, Fireball is an AoE, so it has a size of this, that, the other. You could be like, well, according to Hoyle, fireball should be hitting like 3 or 4 people in this D&D game. That was something that I learned. Very exciting thing. So for those that want to go buy the book, according to Hoyle is a phrase, and Hoyle is the man of the hour. Following that, National Sports Day. Yeah.
We play so much sport ball.
I love sports ball. And now we can know that according to Hoyle, a touchdown is 6 points. And then you can get a 7th for the goal. The kick. The
extra point.
According to Hoyle. I believe that was used correctly. And finally, another more meaningful day, National Slavic Uprising Day. This is for the territory of Czechoslovakia. It has roots in 1930s with the I think it's the Sudetenland is the name for Nazi Germany.
The Sudetens. Yeah.
But that section of territory that was provided to to Nazi Germany, there was a lot of uproar and pushback against it, and carrying on from that in 1944 for the proper uprising peace, it was something where a lot of the local population, and it even got as far as some of the Slavic troops and governance were getting involved in getting out of their normal stations to push back against Nazi Germany before they ended up getting shoved back down. It's kind of a celebration of them and what their fight was against for Nazi Germany, not good. So there you go, random holidays.
Here first, folks.
Woo, we're the hottest of takes. Alrighty. And speaking of hot takes, Llamageddon.
Why we don't let Jordan suggest movie.
We both hadn't seen it. It was
the only movie in all of existence that neither of us have seen. It's weird. We've seen every other movie that exists, or true. One of us has.
It's true. So the story behind it, we, my roommate and I went out to Oregon, and their family started playing this as we're going to bed after being in a car ride trip for hours and hours kind of thing. We're exhausted. We're tired. It's super late at night. We've been playing card games and the like. It was a great time. We put on Llamageddon as we go to fall asleep on the couch and leave early the next day. And I remember a fever dream of this llama with red glowing eyes, and I remembered the name because it's very memey, and I'm I'm writing it down. I'm pitching it. I showed you the trailer at some point, and we're let's see how this goes. And boy howdy, there's a lot to talk through. Let's start filmmaking. Right out the gate, this is a movie that is made by friends, I think, for friends. It was for fun, and to an extent,
it ended up on Amazon.
Yeah, somehow it's on Amazon. It's too self-aware that it is a bad movie to carry the moniker of a good bad movie. It's not like The Room. It's not like maybe a Sharknado, I think, would fall in that territory.
Yeah.
It's not one of those B, C, D type movies. It's very fan filmy. Honestly, it could potentially exist in its entirety on YouTube, just as another, I think that's a perfect genre fit for what kind of movie this is. As far as making goes, it starts rougher, but it gets better in some respects as it goes along, as far as the movie making basics. The sound, it's under par. I mean, if you want to describe it, it's something.
I mean, it's very obvious the layering was not done very well. All the audio levels of different things, you can't really hear the first couple of sections of dialogue.
Because there's just music blaring out at you.
Two farmers out in the middle of a field, and the wind is just, very palpable. And once again, makes it a little hard to tell what's going on initially, but it's Llamageddon, so.
Yeah, and it, thankfully, as the movie goes on, you forget about the sound. You can understand what people are saying.
They got it eventually.
To the end. Yeah. And who knows if that's in the post, if that's how it was filmed. I've got no idea.
It's like they always say that how long are we into this? Can I curse?
Oh, sure. Whatever.
Shit in, shit out.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter what you do post-processing if you
yeah.
do it right the first time.
So there's that. Color grading is hilariously funny and weird. Like, you can tell, like, here's this, like, neutral-ish tone of grass, and then suddenly it's just like, oh, it's neon green in your face. And you just go, ah!
I don't know if it's the color list or them just shooting on different days or
different cameras. Like, if
settings got messed up.
Like, I feel like some of it is they had, like, a tripod set stationary in place for, like, the broader view, like mid-torso up, and then when they do the like shoulder to shoulder back and forth conversation, it feels shakier. I think they like got their phone out. This is in 2015, so like I would buy that if they have a good enough phone, it was just literally the phone is better maybe than the camera itself. It was something else. It was a good time. So there's that. Honestly, it is entertaining the vast majority of the way through.
It's short.
It's also short.
Short.
It could be shorter. The end drags. It's lengthy, not in a good way. It suddenly the pace is murdered. You get to we have an animated intro, pretty good. As soon as you see the second animated bit, the time after that, it's all downhill for a minute. Like, at this point, I hope you're with friends. You're partaking in maybe alcohol.
They had ideas for like 2 good scenes and just ran them as long as they could.
Yeah, and
third act could probably lose about 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And this would be a really, really tight little piece.
Yeah, if it that 45, 50 minute window, if it hit that, I would say this is a much better movie overall, but we're not there. So, the warning's out there. If you want to watch this, go watch it with friends. Go watch it probably with some form of intoxicant. Or plans for a good time. You're doing something in the background and look up and go, what the heck is this? I think that's what this movie is best environmentally set for. If you care so much about spoilers for Llamageddon, now's the time to bail. But boy howdy, you're not missing much. It is weird and fun. With that aside, spoiler warning out there, this movie is a meme. It very much is self-aware that this is meant to be like this funny, made for friends by friends thing. There's a animated, like, it could have been on Newgrounds, ancient internet for you Gen Zers.
Very much that style, all proper flash work and everything.
Oh my goodness, yeah. And it, given that it was made in 2015, the animation looked like, I expected far less out of the animation. It looked like pretty good for what this movie is as a whole.
They definitely knew somebody who like posted on Newgrounds or something, I swear, because it's just like so palpably that.
Yeah,
and in Ed's World or any of that stuff,
and it sets up the idea that there is a llama planet army. Fleet of llamas
building here, you know. It really.
And they start taking off in like trailers that have wings on the side that fly off into space, and one of them ends up being like knocked off course and crashes into Earth.
Meteor or something.
Yeah, oh my god, I forgot that it plows through the International Space Station, and astronauts like screaming at it as he just dies to this llama ship that crash lands into Earth.
Somehow perfectly on its wheels.
Yeah,
no damage. And this ship is just a trailer for transporting horses and such.
This material is nothing like we've ever seen before. I'm pretty sure a line. It's nigh indestructible, like unobtainium levels of powerful.
There's like, you can clearly see the 2x4s that were used to like hold the wings up. Right.
This is red painted, just jutting out the sides. The llama walks out. Oh, the door just
very sinisterly. So high tech.
Llama walks out with red eyes. Yeah. Oh gosh, and the boy howdy. So we have a alien red-eyed llama, glowy-eyed llama on site. What does it do? Well, it walks off like into the middle of a road. It causes like a car crash. After like, no, it blows.
They could have.
The car comes up to it, and they just like have a stare off with each other, and then just like laser explodes the middle of the car with fireworks.
Yeah, all the explosions in this are just fireworks.
Honestly, some of the CG and practical effects in this, I think it's bad and it's charming. I will say they milk a little bit of it at times. We're looking at the llama eggs later, but it's something it is entertaining. So anyway, this llama kills people. It kills person that is like texting a friend, their grandparent. Oh my god. It kills the grandparents while they're like having sex or something in their bedroom. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. It sneaks in. You get a shadow like Muppet on the wall of a llama. It's a fever dream. This movie is a fever dream. Even more than Spy Kids. I'm not okay. It's not okay.
Anyways.
So
the two initial victims that died
are the grandparents.
Were some farmers.
And then the grandkids, and their mom go to a funeral and mourn the deaths of their loved ones. They end up leaving back home. The mom goes out for a couple of days.
Weirdly leaves the kids in charge of the grandparents' farmhouse. And
the kids are
trouble.
The kids are teenagers, but they're like 20s or 30s adult grown humans. Like college age easily. The daughter is like socialites. The rule of three comedy does not apply. It's like, hey Henry, hey Hannah, hey Steve, hey
Jorge.
Bob, hey Joe, hey Jorge, hey Josie, hey Jeffrey, hey, like just on the phone calling 20 billion people, while the son, who is not socially adept, because apparently the family had divorced earlier in his development as a child.
He was a youngin' when his parents got divorced.
And
that's the whole justification.
Yeah, it's very, like, honestly, I'd say, like, 2013 humor. It's dumb. Broken family humor apparently means social ineptitude or something. You don't laugh because of that. You laugh because of the movie he's making, frankly, is my take. It's outdated humor, but the son is not on board for the party. He's very like rule stickler.
He's a rules lawyer.
According to Hoyle, Mom said we're not allowed to have a party. Why are we having a party with alcohol and drugs? This is unacceptable. Like, he can't process it. He's trying to like tell people like don't, like, blah blah blah. They have a party. There's one dude at the party that is probably the funniest of it, and that is every shot is a different shirt.
He's constantly.
I think it's charming.
Through the whole time.
I think it's funny. Yeah, every shot. Like, it's impressive how many shirts they had to just like throw at this dude. I don't know how it happened, but yeah, they're having a party. There's alcohol. There's drugs. There's weird shots and far too uncomfortable close-ups in places. And
a common one, the uncomfortable close-up where you see every pore and every facial hair.
Boy. And this carries on for a bit. The weird socially inept kid loses his virginity, and he's a man now.
That's old the humor. Transition.
Yeah, that's his character growth right there. It's literally like 3 scenes, if anything. And then the llama shows up. One of the drunk guys goes to pee, pees on the llama, the llama splashes his face back in, and then he, like, gets massacred, like, he gets his heart punched out of him and drug off screen. His heart lands in his...
girlfriend catches it.
Yeah, it, like, has blood, like, all over her face and, like, getting in her mouth, and she's like... Oh my god! The llama shows up, like, punches her to the ground. Stomps is a strong word as she says, ka, and then, like, hand on her neck, and then you just hear the, and she's just like, huh, but you can very clearly see her just, after she's had her neck broken and she's dead, like she's totally breathing. It's so, I think it's charming. I think it's entertaining in the dumbest of ways, especially with friends. And I'm like getting that out of breath high, like just from laughing at this. Llama murders. This llama is one of the most effective slashers in all of movie history.
It doesn't mess around. There is no chewing of scenery in with this guy.
Yeah, there's all of these guys get together, guys and gals. They find out there's a hot tub. In a joke that drags a little bit, guys like, hot tub, hot tub, hot tub, hot tub, hot tub, yeah, hot tub, yeah, hot tub. They all get in the hot tub. He doesn't. He's not there yet.
Jordan. Hot tub?
Hot tub.
Hot tub.
So, at a certain point, this guy ends up getting to the hot tub to discover all of them have died. I'm explaining the joke first. He gets to the hot tub, all of them have died, goes out, and he's like, hot tub, hot tub. It drags. Oh boy. So, how they die. They're all like having a fun time.
Doing the thing.
Yeah, they're partying with some music.
Sitting in a gross communal bathtub.
Llama gets radio into the hot tub and they just all get electrocuted to death. And you see the lightning bolts like streak across their faces and on the water.
Beautiful after image effects.
Oh yeah. And then two more people. This is why the llama is the most efficient. Two more people walk up to the hot tub, see everyone completely dead with lightning just, and they go, all right, yeah, let's test the water together. Yeah, together. And they dip their toes in, also electrocute, and then it ends up blowing the fuse as if, like, all the other people in hot tub wouldn't. And then at that point, the fuse, like, the outlet just, like, flies out, sparks, a little bit of, like, smoke scorching.
Some very real-looking fire.
And then the two people just, like, fall over dead. And the llama just, like, walks away menacingly. So they find out that there's dead people. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, llama!" The girl, the like daughter main character, is mad at her boyfriend for getting an
illicit picture on his phone.
Yeah,
from someone that wasn't her.
Yeah, and so she's just like, they all like go outside after this whole like revelation about llama murder, and when they get out there. Two of the partygoers are like, oh my god, evil, like, red-eyed laser llama. They start booking it and just explodes. It lasers them. When they blow up, it's very clearly, like, they get one of those, like, party festivity, like draw noodle things, just with like red water and start splashing blood at people. And it's very clearly like, here's a solid like individual streak line of blood, and then it pauses a little bit, and then you get another streak as it refills and keeps going. It's so silly.
In this process, the cheaty daughter's boyfriend gets puked on something?
Yeah, like gets puked or spat on by the llama. So he's like covered in green goop, and he starts like turning.
Red.
Yeah, he starts turning into a llama a little bit, and then they all go inside. They're like, "Oh my god, what the hell is happening with you?" And they end up like running off into the wood to get the forest to get away from this llama. They end up like leaving the llama mutant behind because they're like, it must be like tracking you because it can smell llama or something.
Yeah. Which was a fun one.
Yeah.
Sure.
So whatever. It goes to an animation. Again, pretty good looking. And then like tentacles come out of the llama and like envelop the dude, and it's like silhouetted and artsy and like thunder lightning kind of things happening. Ominous, whatever. I thought the llama tentacles were like it, like absorbing it into itself, and then they gets carried to the barn. It could be the person gets inseminated with llama eggs. We next see him birthing llama eggs in the barn.
For like 3 minutes straight.
Yeah, it's like, all right, 2 eggs is enough. 3 is too much. 4,
if you see this whole process, there is no.
It's not. Yeah.
It's not graphic because the effects aren't that good, but
if
it
is
was like
rated. I would assume this scene would give it a rating, rated R. I don't know. There's a couple of F-bombs, I think, as well throughout. But yeah, if it was on the visuals, I think this would be the scene that gives it.
It starts off as really gross, like and then it's just like, okay, when does this stop?
You put budget at this. Can we be done? Like we
he
get
a really
it.
annoying
he's
filter
burning
on
lots
his
of
voice
eggs
as he's screaming, which really makes it very grating.
Yeah, it's weird.
And the whole time,
it feels like
at this
an art
point
piece.
Called their father, who is like hanging out with a young lady.
The dad comes twice, one with hooker lady, and then
maybe he's a smooth.
No, because he does like the weird cross eye, like zoom in weird face thing.
I don't think that means she's a hooker.
Yeah, but she like he gets a refund in the bed, like because it's like in her hands or something. I don't look. The guy has a weird scene after getting a phone call, and then like goes, "Oh, that I didn't pick up the phone," and then like goes. He like he gets in his truck. He's got a shotgun. He's a farmer, dad, protagonist, cool guy at the end of Friday the 13th, fighting Jason Voorhees type vibe person.
Just like that.
Whatever that cliche, that trope shows up, ready to fucking go. Starts blowing up.
Immediately does the.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna waste like 3 shells.
Yeah. Ends up like going through the barn. Walks way too long. This could be edited down.
This is like interlace too with the rubber thing. There's like a solid 5 minutes of this.
Doesn't like immediately notice here the freaking llama screaming thing. Goes up, finds llama boy.
The eggs begin to hatch.
Yeah.
Just horrible.
Baby llama, like, it's like a sock puppet with llama.
It's like a little plush.
This little, yeah. Oh, yeah, it totally is. Yeah. It's just like a stuffed animal llama. He blows up the guy's head. He starts popping eggs one by one. It's a llama massacre. La massacre. I don't...
It's one thing that scarred me and I wish I could forget.
The llama itself shows up. They get in a fight. They get in a tussle. It beats
starts
him
off
up.
as a firefight.
Yeah, it's shooting lasers. He's shooting shotguns. He has infinite ammo glitch
and no recoil.
No recoil whatsoever. And the llama ends up getting at his neck, so he's just like bleeding out. Got a massive flesh wound. It's
pretty bad.
Decent effects. You can see the seam. You can see the seam.
Not initially. It cuts back and then you see the seam.
Yeah.
But like the first shot of it's like, okay.
Okay. Props. No. Yeah.
They don't hold it up though.
And then earlier there's the combine and they're like, oh my god, the combine's dangerous, don't do it. So the llama gets in front of the combine as it's chasing the son and daughter. And the dad gets in, I don't know what he says, but he says a cool line phrase or something, and then turns on the combine, and then the llama just starts like exploding inside of it, kind of thing, where you see like splashes of llama blood, where it's like green gooey alien stuff like splashing at the window of the farm equipment in the guy's like just in front of the guy's face as he's like kind of thing, and then he like
by the combine.
Yeah, the llama dies. He climbs out. He's bleeding out, and it's like
he also dies.
Yeah, and he's like, "Son, you did all right, or you're a man now, or whatever." And the kids are like, "Oh no!" And they have either a crane or a drone shot of them like looking up at the stars, and I'm like, "Oh no, we're gonna get more, aren't we?" No, that's the end. That's the credits. Credits roll.
Yep.
And
that's all. Nothing else happens.
Shirt changing guy. Oh, I forgot. He like explodes earlier after giving he does the Deep Blue Sea thing.
Yeah, he does.
Where Sam Jackson has the whole thing and then just gets eaten by a shark.
Beats his llama and it's gonna be red.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh no, it's right there." It explodes. And then the credits play. They have the audacity to play the movie on like 20 times speed so you can re-experience it.
There's like a really mostly well done rap song that describes the plot of the movie.
Llamageddon, yeah, Llamageddon, yeah, Llamageddon.
It's definitely cheesy, but like it's rather competent.
It's actually catchy.
There's some flow going on. The rhymes make sense.
Personally, it makes up for a large chunk of whatever the finale was because it actually was pretty dope. And the movie ends post-credit. The scientists, they were there. They had the egg. They no longer have their caution tape when they pass by it earlier, the super alien llama spaceship where there's just red sheet metal or whatever. The guy cooks up the llama egg and eats it.
And it is green eggs and ham.
Yeah.
Status.
That's it. It's done. It's over. So
it was an hour and 9 minutes, so that was nice.
What's the takeaway here? Does it merit acknowledgement? Yeah.
I mean, it's on Amazon,
it's on Amazon. Yeah, in terms of would I recommend this to people? Under
you know what?
It
really exists.
It does exist.
It exists.
I would recommend this in the context of you are with friends, you are in it to have a fun time, you're probably playing a board game, one of those more mindless board games, I would say. Maybe a Risk game.
No, probably something really intense just to distract you from the awful birth scene. Probably.
Yeah, that's when you get really into whatever board game. You can stop watching. The moment you feel like you need to look away, you have that out. But otherwise, if you're not paying attention, you look up and you're like, what is going on? I think that's the perfect environment for this kind of movie. It really could have been 45 to 50 minutes with credits or whatever.
You have to be slightly sick in the head to want to watch this movie.
Yeah, have some intoxication. But... Ooh, Mr. Thunder outside. But ultimately, it's worth a rent, or if you happen to have Amazon Prime, stream it kind of thing for one night for
Definitely
$2-3.
Officially support it. Don't go through any other means. Absolutely not. Don't do
that. The hardcore membership, you can buy it should you choose. It's $8 or something. I don't think it's worth the buy. But if you have Prime, why not?
I don't either, but I honestly am curious, when was the last time you bought a movie?
Yeah, it would have been a long time ago, because I don't even have a place for DVDs or something.
Yeah.
The things I have, True Cinema, Lord of the Rings, the Trilogy Extended Edition in the box set, the
11 hours of content,
the 6 prequel and original trilogy Star Wars movies, the Family Guy version of the original trilogy. I don't know what else I have. Those are the DVDs I have. And it's the extent of what I thought was worth keeping. It fits in a single, small drawer. That's what I know. Buying movies is not my forte. But that's Llamageddon. Yeah, Llamageddon.
It's Llamageddon.
Yeah, Llamageddon.
Oh, copyright infringed now.
Yeah, there you go. So, Connor, where can we check you out?
You can always find me at 5string Connor on YouTube. And, of course, Band Cleric on Steam and Discord, I think.
Booyah. And here, Mondays. We post on Mondays. Evenings. Hey. If you want to see...
after this one...
we may never watch a movie again. Yeah, we'll see what the heck happens next week. And then, following that, if you want to see more of me, there's this, on Mondays, and then on Wednesdays, it's myself and my buddy John. He hasn't experienced Kingdom Hearts. I have, so I'm guiding him through it. Likewise, there's my buddy Marcus on his channel, Eldritch Bunch, Eldritch Funky on Twitch. For him, it is Knights of the Old Republic. He's not experienced it. I have, so I'm doing a little backseat driving, guide his way through his first narrative experiment. Hang out with friends, just like with Llamageddon. There you go. Everyone, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Take care. Llamageddon, yeah, Llamageddon.